This Tuesday edition of Sports Addict Live's Pucks Across Borders, brought to you by none other than First Round Collectibles. What's your sport? Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, maybe even wrestling. Well, whatever it is, you can get it at firstroundcollectibles.com. And right now, with the promo code Sports Addict, you get 10% off whatever sports card your heart desires. That's right, 10% off with promo code Sports Addict. Firstroundcollectibles.com. That's the number one, ST roundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah, oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever.
And welcome to Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports. Good to be back on a Tuesday. A couple games. There was a little teaser last night. We got a full slate, 8 games in the NHL to get into tonight. But first, let me introduce the crew. Up top, hanging out with me, you read his work on Gridiron Heroics about the NFL and winners and whiners. You see him on Total Apex Sports talking about the NBA, talking about the NFL. Andre, how are you doing on this Tuesday afternoon?
I feel pretty good. Not sure how I got up here. I think I just kind of stumbled on in and perched, but feeling good. I think I look good. I hope you guys agree. And I'm ready to talk about some real hockey today. Yesterday was my team, but not a lot of games. Now we get to dig into some of the other squads gunning for it this year.
Absolutely. And you look great, man. Always look professional, look smooth. It's all wonderful. At the bottom of your screen, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. Uncle John, Unc, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Today it's official for the sequel Uncle title. Shout out to my sister. Her kid was born very early this morning on the date of the 6th. So officially got the Uncle title for the second time. As far as hockey goes, nervously awaiting to see how my team does tonight with the Devils. We talked about this yesterday. I was kind of happy to get the day off last night compared to you guys. I felt like we needed an extra day or so to get back at it. So hopefully it helped.
Well, let's before we get into the full slate that we have tonight, let's just go back to last night a little bit. Andre, we'll start with you, man. It's your team played the Colorado Avalanche. We kind of joked around about this before the show, just like, Jonathan, quick, man. That game could have been 4-0 Avs in a hurry. And you guys, I don't know if you necessarily stole one, but that was a really hard-fought win. What were your takeaways from last night? And what are you kind of looking at in the back half of the season for your New York Rangers?
Yeah, that game had me on edge. It had a playoff feel to it, which I really liked. I do. I tend to enjoy when we play the Avalanche. They're usually fun, competitive games. And Quick definitely balled out. We needed it, especially since the entire first period, it felt like the Rangers were on the penalty kill. So grateful for 1 point, let alone 2. But there's some things I liked. Lafreniere hit the back of the net. He had a lot of high danger chances in January and December, and it just felt like he wasn't scoring. So it was good to see that. Panarin did Panarin things. That's always great to see. The penalty kill was perfect against a phenomenal offense, a very talented team. Jonathan Quick was solid in net. We're going to see Igor Shesterkin, so I'm hoping he'll build off that. I really still love that duo. the defense for the most part didn't allow the easy goals. Like the goalie has no chance, so the like quick and Shesterkin can't do anything type of shots. And I think that's the biggest key for this team moving forward. But I love how they fought. Kept the Avalanche to 1 goal across 2 periods and change. That's great work, no matter who you want to give the credit to. And it was nice to get 2 points from that one. I was optimistic. I kind of watched January away. It was nice to get the 2 points, and I'm looking forward to just more defensive performances like that more than anything. The goals need to come. 2 isn't really acceptable, but if you're going to do that to a really dangerous offense, it's going to work a lot. And then I did tell you I want to tack something on. So just real quick, Alexis Lafreniere got called for a tripping penalty yesterday, and he didn't trip anybody. It was an Avalanche player tripped his teammate. Refs saw the stick, it caught, assumed it was Laffy, sent him to the sin bin, whatever. We play the Avalanche twice a year. They come to the Garden once a year. Last year, against the Avalanche in the Garden, Devin Tays high-sticked one of his teammates, and Alexis Lafreniere got called for a high-sticking penalty. Got sent home.
Really, same guy.
Years in a row.
Wow.
At home against the Avalanche, got called for a penalty you didn't commit. I just thought that was so strange.
You got to look into the background of that crew, that reffing crew.
What are the chances it's the same player in the same matchup?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it only happens once a year.
For real.
That's so funny. Yeah, that was a huge win for the Rangers. I felt like the Avalanche were really, really rolling going into last night, into the All-Star break, and the Rangers kind of the opposite of that. And I think that was a really, really big win. I was watching the Leaf game. I saw that Colorado scored relatively early. I can't remember how early it was, but it was the first period, I believe. And I was just kind of like, oh, that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. But the Rangers hunkered down, if you will, and got the W. And Jonathan Quick just keeps on just turning back the clock, man. It's awesome. Awesome to see. Whenever you see players like that, right? Fleury, same thing. Roberto Luongo at the end of his career. Lundqvist too, right? Whenever you see those just classic goaltenders towards the end of their career turning back the clock, you love to see it. I'll quickly touch on the Leafs. So that game last night, I thought was actually a really good hockey game, much better than I thought coming out of the break. I thought both teams played very well. I felt like the Leafs deserved to win. Keith said that we did more than enough to win, but we did just enough to lose. It was like one of those games. So I did say on the show, Islanders money line. I didn't expect it. I really did expect the Leafs to come out flat, and I expected the Islanders to win by 2. I really did. But the Leafs play close. They tied it up with 4 minutes left in the game. And then Pierre Engvall, former Maple Leaf revenge goal. Really funny side note. You know how when players come back, they have the tribute videos or whatever. All they had for Pierre Engvall was "Welcome back, Pierre," and it just sat up there for a few seconds and then showed him on the bench, and that was it. No tribute video, no nothing. Just, hey man, good to see you. All right, let's carry on. A bit though, and you can't escape it in Toronto. It's still concerning though. Last night, I say these things. It's a better game than I thought it would be. The Leafs were more competitive than I thought they would be. I don't know if you guys had the chance to see McLean. Oh man, my mind is blanking on his first name. Kyle McLean, I believe. He's played 6 games in the NHL. His dad, John McLean, also a former NHLer. Very good player in his own day. He's the assistant coach for the Islanders. He's on the bench. The Leafs are on the power play. And at the end of the power play, they make a couple boneheaded mistakes. Puck goes out to center ice, and Mr. McLean's all by himself coming out of the penalty box, going down, breakaway, deked to the right, scored. And in the National Hockey League, man, those types of mistakes they cannot happen. And what was interesting and kind of fresh air, to be honest with you, is over the last few years, Sheldon Keefe has been very protective of his players, and if he does correct his players to the media, the next day he'll come out and apologize and be all whatever. He did not mince words last night. He was like, that is Pee-wee hockey. This is the National Hockey League. That, like, absolute garbage. And I actually like it. Like, these are like some of the best players in the whole league, and you have them all on one team, and you're making mistakes like that. Like, especially with that power play, man. Like, you have Tavares, Marner, Matthews, Nylander, and that play is happening at the end of a power play. It can't happen. And so for the Maple Leafs, it's the same old thing. And I do think that Maple Leaf fans, like, we need to be self-aware enough. And I know you guys down in the States, you know, everyone thinks the Leafs are this awesome team or whatever. The common sentiment in the Toronto media right now is good team, not great. Great potential, great players, good team. And it's mistakes like that are like, dudes, like, you guys are some of the highest paid players in the league. And that stuff happens. Like, there's no excuses like, well, Matthews and Martin, they're in the All-Star game, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter, man. Like, we are, I believe, 1 point up on the Red Wings in the first wild card spot. That game against the Islanders are the next team after the Red Wings. Like, that was a big game last night. And, like, we need to, I don't know, maybe this is too crazy. I feel like John's going to tell me to calm down, but I don't think the Leafs are going to miss the playoffs. However, we're not comfortably in the playoffs right now. Like, this is not, the Leafs have been one of the best regular season teams for years now. And it's just a kind of foregone conclusion. And it's not a foregone conclusion this year. I still think they'll make it. I do still think they'll get into the top 3, more than likely third place in the division. I do think that. But it's not a foregone conclusion. And it's mistakes like that last night where it's like, man, like, my expectations were low, but then they played so well that it still messed with my expectations. Like, it was a weird game from the Leafs, and I'm curious to see. Like I said, I still think they'll make it. But man, we're not comfortable by any means, and we need to remember that. All right, let's dive into. We'll get to your team in a little bit, John, and you can tell us how you feel heading into the back half of the year. Let's dive in to, thank you very much for the comment. I appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in. Let's dive into Calgary at Boston. Boston at home, -192 favorites. +160 are the Flames on the road. +1.5 is the puck line at -148 for the Flames. -1.5 for the Bruins is +124. The over is 6 at -108. The under is -112. John, we'll start with you, man. What are you seeing in this game tonight?
I see this as an important game for Calgary, mainly because we talked about them right before we left for the All-Star break. You guys in particular seem pretty high on them to make a run in the second half. I should post All-Star break. to potentially make the playoffs. And tonight's a good test for that. I mean, they're taking on maybe the best team in the NHL, at least in the top 3, I would say. And it's going to be a good measuring stick game, in my opinion, to see what Calgary is made of in the second half, because they got some making up to do. I think if they're able to win this game as the first game out of the All-Star break, it could allow them to build some good momentum down the stretch, maybe build some confidence in themselves and be like, hey, we can catch these 7th and 8th place teams in the West. Why not? With that said, I don't think it's going to happen tonight. I think Boston is a good matchup for them. For starters, like Boston has about almost double the success on the power play that Calgary does. That would concern me in this matchup. Both teams are pretty good on the PK, but I think the goaltending matchup is a huge advantage for Boston. Boston is like 4th in the league in goals allowed per game. Calgary is about in the middle of the pack, giving up just over 3 goals a game. But yeah, I think the goaltending differential as well as the power play for Boston, I'd probably go with a puck line play here for the Bruins.
Andre, what about you, man? What do you see here tonight with your beloved Calgary Flames?
Yeah. John kind of touched on it, but I think me and you both had Calgary in the playoffs. And during that All-Star episode, I issued a challenge to this team and said they went 2-2 during these first 4 games out of the break, this slow road trip on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to pencil them in, no questions asked. And well, I'm assuming one game is a loss already because one of those games is the Rangers. So it's really 2-3. And I don't think this is going to be one of them. So they're really running out of room here. The Bruins, it's tough to go to TD Garden and win a game for anybody, let alone a Calgary team that struggled on the road all season, let alone a Calgary team that traded away Lindholm during the break. So I like the way they've been playing hockey. I'm not convinced they're going to lose by multiple goals like John. I think they'll keep it tight, even though I don't like their puck line at minus 148. I would go Bruins 60-minute line instead at minus 135. But they're not a good road team. Besides the penalty kill, Boston's vastly superior in every way.
Mm-hmm.
TD Garden's a nightmare for a lot of teams. I imagine for the Western Conference teams that don't go there often, it's even worse. So I like Bruins 60-minute line, and I'm going to roll with the under 6 because elite goaltending duo in Boston. Like I just mentioned, the Flames have a really good PK. Defense goaltending is solid. That's why they can compete with most teams. So under 6, Bruins 60-minute line. That's where I'm rolling with this one.
I like the under 6 as well. I also think, generally speaking, I am interested in Calgary right now because I do think that you trade Lindholm, and I think for the rest of the team, we've heard Tanev's name out there. Tanev's name out there for a while. Zadorov was already traded. They got other good pieces, Markstrom being one of them. So it really is up to the team to dictate, like the actual players to dictate what they do here moving towards the trade deadline in about a month or so. I don't love the puck line either. I do think Boston wins this game. I really like the under as well. That's my favorite play. I know that the numbers tell us that goaltending heavily favors Boston, but I mean, Markstrom's no slouch. He's a good goaltender, very good goaltender. And so I think both of these teams, I can see this being a very tight defensive, don't get too crazy first game back from a break. And I see Boston winning this game as well. Whatever, I haven't even checked, full disclosure, but whatever the Pasternak numbers are for overshots, just take those. And if there's a lot of juice, just parlay it with something because he's shooting insane amount of shots right now. So I like the under. That's my favorite play. And I won't get mad at the 60-minute line or the puck line, but I feel like the under is probably the safest bet all the way around. Moving to Buffalo. Buffalo plus 130 at home against the Dallas Stars, who are minus 155. Minus 1.5 for the Stars, plus 154. Buffalo plus 1.5 is minus 185. The over is 6.5 at minus 105, and the under is minus 115. Andre, we'll start with you, man. What do you see here in this game?
I feel like I'm missing something here because in my head, the Stars should be favored by much more than they are.
Yeah. If Boston's 192 against Calgary, Dallas, I know that Boston's at home, but I understand what you're saying for sure.
Yeah. And the Sabres have a losing record at home. I don't get it. I don't know. Just again, there's no like momentum in play or anything because every team was just off. So you're just really basing it off of the roster, the coaching, what they've done to this point of the season, their body of work. Dallas's resume is head and shoulders above Buffalo's. I don't think we really need to do a deep dive into that. I'm taking the Stars minus 1.5 here.
Yeah.
I know the Sabres can be weird, but this isn't a even fight to me. Just straight up, I don't really know what else to say about it.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Dallas minus 1.5. We've seen Buffalo make us angry in these types of spots before. Would it really surprise us if Buffalo randomly wins this game 5-3? Like, Buffalo does stupid things that are frustrating to the degenerates that are on this show. However, I do think the right play here is Dallas minus 1.5. Stars 8-6 in January, which you look at that number 8-6, feels like they were much better than that. Like, you watch their games. This is a very good hockey team. Finished January before the All-Star break 4-1. I've said this stat before. I'll say it again. Only one win scoring less than 4 goals in that 8-6 stretch. And I can't remember the exact stat. We laid it out a couple of weeks ago. Like 80% of their games go over. This team scores a lot of goals. And I really like the over in this game as well. I think 5-2, 5-3, 6-2. I can 100% see that happening. I like the over, and I like Dallas minus 1.5. I will say Buffalo, sneaky good January, 7-4, finishing the month at 4-2. Starting to play some better hockey, beating the Kings and the Sharks to round out their first half. The unofficial first half, I guess. But I do like the Stars at minus 1.5. John, what about you, man? What do you see here?
You pretty much hit the nail on the head with what I was about to say. I do like the over in this game as well. Dallas is top 3 in goals per game. Buffalo's not too bad, around the middle of the pack, just under 3 goals a game average. Dallas has a good power play, over 22% for the year. I think this Buffalo PK team can be had, so I do like that for the over as well on Dallas' side. And I feel like both of these teams are also a little shaky when it comes to goaltending, at least recently. Both of these teams average over 3 goals allowed per game. So I agree with you, Mark. I feel like I wouldn't be shocked if Buffalo ends up winning this game, even though all the stats suggest Dallas should. It's just one of those weird things where I'd rather stay away from it and, stick with the over. I think the total's the better bet here.
Yeah. Yeah, can't be mad about it at all. All right, let's move to Carolina, where, listen, Edmonton's won 16 games in a row. They're facing Vegas later on in the evening. More than likely the 2 and 3 seed, whichever way that falls, first round matchup in the playoffs. The only reason why that's the game of the night is because Edmonton's on a 16-game heater right now, which is fair. To me, this is the game of the night. I love this game, and I can't wait to watch this game. Nice little appetizer before the Edmonton and Vegas finale. Carolina minus 155 at home, minus 155 against one of the best teams in the league on the road. John, Vancouver plus 130
I think you know
on
what
the
it's
road. I get it, but plus 130. The over is 6.5 at minus 102. Vancouver is plus 1.5 minus 198. Carolina minus 1.5 at plus 164. Canucks 10-3 in January. 3 wins scoring less than 4 goals. 6 wins scoring 5 or more goals. This team scores a lot. Carolina, they are 12th in goals against. I think that number is a flattering considering the kind of flip-flop that they've had in the net. Freddie Anderson's still not back. Ranta in net tonight, I'll fully admit I haven't seen. But either way, I really like Vancouver in this spot, man. That's no disrespect to Carolina. They're 4 points back now of the Rangers in for first place in the Met. 8-3 in January. We've been talking about Carolina. We've been waiting for them to come around, and they have come around. They're absolutely back. They're playing good hockey. Finished 3-game winning streak, 4-1 in their last 5. Very good hockey team. You're giving me Vancouver plus money, man. I trust Vancouver to score more goals than Carolina. And that's the whole point of this game, isn't it? Hockey, you got to score more goals than the other team. And I just trust it more. I want to get cute with Vancouver 60-minute line plus 190. But I think I'm going to get even cuter because this is how I'm feeling today. And give me Vancouver minus 1.5 at plus 270.
Boom.
I can see 100% see it. I think Vancouver is a better team defensively. Not even I think, like, it's just the numbers, like their first goals per game, second goals against, 8th in power play. I know Carolina's second in power. Anyway, I'm going to steal all the content. I don't know if you guys can tell. Give me Vancouver minus 1.5. And I'll take the over. Both these teams can score. I like the over on this one. Why not? The over 6.5 and give me Vancouver minus 1.5. Let's go. John, what say you?
Boys, you know what it is. The rules haven't changed here. I know we just had an all-star break. I know we've been gone for a while, but the rules have not changed here. If you see Vancouver have plus money, take it. Take it. And I'll just say, I do think this is the game of the night in terms of the two most talented teams going up against each other. I could honestly see this being a Stanley Cup final match. I really could. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but I like the way both these teams are playing. This is going to be an interesting one for me. Again, like you said, man, no disrespect to Carolina. I just said they're playing pretty good hockey. But, man, when you get Vancouver at plus money, the way they're playing, and they're the top goal-scoring team in the league, you got to take it. I don't care if they are on the road against a very good home team in Carolina. I'm rolling with Vancouver plus 130. I'm not going to get quite as ballsy as Mark picking the Vancouver puck line here, but I might even flirt with the 60-minute line, though. I do like what you said. It was plus 190 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would flirt with that as well. I'd think about it at least. But, yeah, I like Vancouver tonight in this matchup.
Well, thank you for calling me ballsy, because I call myself cute, and ballsy, I think, is better. Andre, what about you, man? What do you see here? Are you with us, or are you going Lone Ranger?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm not lone wolfing it this time, but I think what this game boils down to me, Besides the plus money, you got to take the plus money, right? I trust Thatcher Demko in net more than I trust Peter Kochetkov, or
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Kochetkov's going to start, or if not,
Okay.
it's going to be Antti Ranta, which helps my point even more. And Vancouver, elite offense, leading the league in scoring now because the Avalanche dropped last night for some reason, and that's that. Better goaltending, better offense. I know they're on the road. I know the Canes are playing well. I know the Canes are really good at home. This isn't a disrespectful pick towards the Canes as much as the value in the Canucks, the performance of the Canucks. They're tied for the best record, most points, best points percentage, whatever you want to use in the league. They're on pace to win the President's Trophy. They're cruising to their division title. It's hard not to pick this team at plus 130, and even in Riley, even against the hot Canes team. So every storm ends eventually, right?
Love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Moving on to Florida, where we have the Flyers playing the Panthers. Florida minus 192 favorites at home, minus 192. Plus 160 are the Flyers on the road. Plus 1.5 for Philly is minus 155, while minus 1.5 for the Panthers is plus 130. The over is 6 at minus 105, and the under is minus 115. Andre, we'll go right back to you, man. What do you see in this one?
I would say the only reason not to take the over is if you think the Panthers are going to score like 4 or 5, 6 goals themselves.
Right.
Otherwise, you got to go with the under here. These are two. I know the situation with Philly with Carter Hart gone. Still the second best PK. Still 11th in goals against this season. And what was it? Erison? Is that how you pronounce it? Erison? He's been solid in relief.
He's been good. Yep.
His goals against average is actually lower than Carter Hart's. I know his save percentage isn't as high, but he's been doing a solid job back there. Philly's issue, and the reason they're going to lose this game in 60 minutes, the reason they're going to lose this game by multiple goals more than likely is that they can't score whatsoever. Especially their power play is dreadful. And Florida, very complete team, but the domination comes defensively and in net and with their physicality. Tortorella, you can't fight your way through this one. Florida's going to match you. Florida's going to pummel you. They're going to beat you at your game. So I like the under 6. I like the Panthers minus 1.5 here.
John, what about you, man? What do you see here? Same thing?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in lockstep with Andre here. Under's my favorite play in this game, mainly because from a goaltending perspective, I do believe Philadelphia is due for a good performance. I said before the All-Star break they were struggling with that ever since this Carter Hart thing blew up, and that's why I was worried about. I don't think it was just him, but just ever since that news came out, it's coincidental timing. The goaltending's been an issue for Philadelphia, like 4 of the last 5 games before the All-Star break. I believe they allowed 5 or more goals in those games. So I was a little bit worried about that on our All-Star break show going into it, if Philadelphia could fix it. But considering Philadelphia has that slump, the odds for an under 6 play here tonight are minus 115. So I thought that was very telling. I know Florida's a top 3 team in the league in goals allowed, but I'm mainly picking the under because I believe that will hold along with Philadelphia finally getting a good performance behind the net. So I think it's going to be a tight battle. I'm not saying the Flyers are necessarily going to win, but I don't expect them to come out flat like they had been going into the All-Star break. I think they needed some time away from the ice, if I'm keeping it real. Tortorella's, I feel like we'll get these guys back in it. We'll get them together. And I expect a tight, low-scoring battle tonight. Give me the under 6.
Yeah, the only thing that's making me a bit nervous about the puck line for Florida and even the under, honestly, is I know that Stolarz is in net tonight. Very good backup goaltender. Very, very good goaltender. But you've had the All-Star break. You're the backup starting after the All-Star break, so you already have had a break and then the All-Star break and then you're playing tonight. So I do have a little bit of concern about that. I do think that the under is the best play. And I don't know. There's so much. You guys know how I feel about this Flyers team. There's something inside of me that wants to take Flyers plus 160. I really want to dabble in that. But I think I'm just going to play it safe tonight and pick the under. I do think Panthers minus 1.5 value wise is better. I do think the Panthers will win, but there's just something about it that I just feel a little bit hesitant coming into it after the break, picking Panthers minus 1.5 against Philly. But you're not wrong though, John. Like Philadelphia, they're only 2 points up now on the Islanders in that last spot. 6-8 in January, finished 0-5. They allowed 5 or more 4 times in that 5-game stretch, right? So they've been allowing a lot of goals. I definitely hear what you're saying. I think I'm just gonna stick with the under. I don't know. Something's telling me Philly might throw an upset, but I'm not confident enough to put my hard-earned money on it. Moving on to Pittsburgh. This is a sneaky good game too. We got Winnipeg in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh minus 115 at home. Winnipeg minus 105 at home. I wish if we could have got Vancouver and Winnipeg at plus money, I would have loved that. But still, minus 105. Not the worst. The over is 5.5, which I find super interesting at minus 125. The under is plus 105. Plus 1.5 for the Jets is minus 270. Minus 1.5 for Pittsburgh is plus 220. John, we'll start with you, man. What do you see in this one?
A very odd line, if I'm being honest. Like Winnipeg's the top goaltending team in the league. I'm a little surprised at this. I know Pittsburgh is not bad in that department, but all the stats would suggest Winnipeg's the better team. I think we've all been on Winnipeg lately, but this one's raising an eyebrow for me, perhaps more than any other line tonight. And I think for that reason alone, I'm going with Pittsburgh. I feel like there has to be a reason why they're a favorite in this game. I don't even care that they're at home. Winnipeg is the better team. They should be a favorite. Unless there's something I'm missing here. It just, I don't know, man. It seems like a trap line. Makes me want to pick Pittsburgh here.
Shifley. I was thinking golf for a sec. Shifley's coming back tonight. I know Hellebuck's in net tonight. I'm doing the same thing that I did with Vancouver, man. Give me Winnipeg minus 1.5 plus 215. I think Winnipeg wins this game, man. I really want Pittsburgh to do well, mostly for Sidney Crosby's sake. I want them to make that final push and make it into the playoffs. I get what you're saying, John. To me, that's overthinking it. Like,
it could be.
Why Vancouver is underdogs to Carolina, who is a good team, but Winnipeg is underdogs to Pittsburgh, who is they're fine, but clearly Winnipeg is better. I know it's on the road. I do like Winnipeg to win, so I understand you don't want to get too risky with the minus 1.5. Pick the money line, like minus 1.5, or sorry, minus 105 for Winnipeg. Totally fine. Great value. Love it. I would even consider Winnipeg minus 1.5. Andre, what say you, man?
I say that I don't want Crosby to get into the playoffs because I don't like him or his team. So how about that, Mark? How about that?
For my boy, man, my dude.
I know he's a Canadian. I understand. The when I first saw this game, I was very disappointed that the total wasn't 6 because I was going to be all over the under 6, but 5.5 isn't going to deter me. I'm taking the under 5.5.
Mm, all right.
Winnipeg goaltending best in the league, or I guess defense and goaltending best in the league. Sharp, we know that. The issue with this team is they had a bit of a scoring slump going into the break, and that's why they lost what 4-6. They only scored 2 against your boys at home. Game before that, also against the Maple Leafs, they got shut out. Only scored 1 in Boston. Only scored 2 in Ottawa, which I think is the most telling game from the stretch. 4 against the Islanders, that was a good one, and then they got shut out by Philly at home. Before that, they weren't finding the back of the net, and Pittsburgh is okay this season, but it hasn't been because they're struggling to stop pucks. Tristan Jarry is a very good goalie. They allow the 6th fewest goals per game. Their PK is 81.2%. That's 12th. Pittsburgh can keep them in check. I don't see a lot of scoring in this one. I see this being a slow, physical, grinded out game where 5 goals is probably the max scored. So I'm going to take the under. Part of this line being so tight kind of scares me and makes me want to go Pittsburgh, but I'll trust my gut and go with the Jets.
Yeah, I understand what John's saying for sure. I do think it's a bit of overthinking the line, but at the same time, like we said this yesterday, guys, like coming out of the break, it's so hard to really like get a full grasp on what we are seeing, or what we will see rather. Moving on to Washington for the most uninteresting game of the evening. Minus 162 in Washington at home, which is ridiculous. Montreal plus 136. Not saying Washington shouldn't be favored, but minus 162 against anybody is silly, to put it family friendly. It's very silly. Over 5.5 is minus 120. Under 5.5 is plus 100. Plus 1.5 for Montreal is minus 185. And minus 1.5 for the Capitals is plus 154. Andre, we'll start with you, man. What do you see in this barn burner?
Well, the Capitals have won 3 in a row at home, despite their 4-game losing streak overall. So there's that. Just every time I picture this game, I see it ending 2 ways, which are completely opposite, and it frightens me, frankly. I see one way is the Capitals win this game 4-1. They jump on them early, kind of close to victory, not even close. The other way I see this is the Capitals win in overtime, and I'm regretting picking Capitals 60-minute line or Capitals minus 1.5 because I expect them to dominate.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what to do here. This game sucks. I'm just going to be real with you. The Canadians are better on the road for what it's worth. The Canadians are feisty. We like to say that a lot. But DC, even in a down year, has a real home ice advantage. I think it matters. I think this team is still chasing the postseason, even with the Kuznetsov news from, I think it was yesterday. He got put on the I forgot what the official name of the league is.
Players assistance program, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Thank you. Ovi's running out of time. TikTok, it's the Ovi show. They're going to go for it. They don't have the time to rebuild, kind of think about it. So I'll take the Capitals minus 1.5 here, and I'll take the under. But I don't feel good about it.
Okay. John, what say you, man?
Sticking with my consistent line of thinking today of overthinking these lines. I think I'm going with Andre's logic here too. I'm taking the Caps 1.5. Like, I don't understand why the Capitals are this big of a favorites. I mean, this team's not that good, if we're being honest. And like the problem is Montreal's even worse because both of these teams are
Are
like,
they? I
yes,
don't know. I don't know
I
how much worse they are, man.
I think they're worse because like
I,
both of these teams are bottom 5 in goals per game, but at least
I think they
Washington has
both
goaltending.
suck.
Montreal is near the bottom in goaltending too. At least
Yeah.
at least Washington is decent goaltending here. Like that's the only separation I have for these two teams because they both suck when it comes to scoring. But watch, you're gonna get like 6 goals total and just barely hit the over. So I'm staying away from that one. My only logical solution here is the sports books are sniffing out something with this. I don't think Washington has business being favorites against anybody, but if they are, it must be for a reason. At least that's what I'm going with. I don't know. But like Andre said, this game is my least favorite to pick on the slate. But with that said, if you want to be degenerate and bet it Washington puck line, I guess.
Oh man, right now I'm picturing a beautiful Canadian parlay of Winnipeg, Vancouver, Montreal. What are the odds? Tell me somebody. If you're overthinking the odds, John, then I'm underthinking them because I think Montreal is going to win this game. I think like I mean Kuznetsov not a real standout year for him to begin with, but him being off the team now. Let's look at it this way. We're talking about both these teams not being good, all right? Montreal 5-8 in January, finished the month 1-4. Washington 5-8 in January, finished the month 0-4. Montreal has allowed 25 goals in their last 5 games, and Washington has allowed 5 or more in 3 of the last 4. So both these teams are coming in, going into the All-Star break and out of the All-Star break in not a very good spot. For me, probably a stay away if we're being honest about it. But give me some Montreal. I'll sprinkle a little bit on Montreal. I love it. I don't really trust either team, but both teams have been allowing goals at an alarming rate the last week and a half or so. So I'm staying away from the total. Give me Montreal. I won't get stupid and go Montreal -1.5. That's probably overkill. But give me Montreal. All right, let's move on. Pick up the pace a little bit. Only 2 games left in the slate. And let's go to your boys, John. We got Devils home against the Avalanche. Devils -105 at home. These lines are weird, man. I know. Devils minus money, really? No disrespect, but I don't know. Anyway, okay. Colorado -115 on the road. Devils -105. The over is 6.5 at -135. The under is +114. -1.5 for the Avalanche is +205. Or +1.5 for the Devils is -250. John, for the sake of time, let's just dive into this game. Tomorrow, after this game, we'll get a little breakdown from you of what you saw tonight and what you see in the Devils' future for the last half of this season. We'll do that tomorrow, but for now, just give us what are you feeling about tonight, bro?
For tonight, I feel like
sports are seeming to like your boys tonight, man.
I was just gonna say, I think this is good odds for the Devils, and I felt this way already before I saw the odds for this game. I think the Devils win it outright. I'm not even just saying that because it's my team. I think it's a favorable situation for them for 2 reasons. One, the Avalanche are on a back-to-back after a tough loss against Andre's boys last night. So that's part of why I'm feeling the Devils here. 2, the Devils haven't played in over a week. And I would say this, in my opinion, really, really benefited the Devils to get away from the ice for a little bit. Devils just needed to, in my opinion at least, needed some time away from playing because they looked about as flat as possible after this McLeod news happened. I think they just needed to get away and regroup and circle their way back. So I think I can't remember the last date they played, but I want to say it's been 10 days since their last game. I think that's very beneficial for the Devils, especially having a home game coming back. Also, Jack Hughes practiced this morning, so he's very close. Well, he was in the morning skate, I should say. He's not playing tonight, but I heard either Thursday or Saturday he's likely coming back. So I think that's a little morale boost for the Devils there, knowing they're going to get their boy back soon. So I think just seeing Hughes and having some time away from the ice is going to regroup this team mentally. That's my belief anyway. I realize the Avalanche are a tough opponent. They're definitely one of the better scoring teams in the league. But I do genuinely believe the Devils can keep up with them, especially if they get their power play going. Even without Hughes, they're one of the better power play teams in the NHL. I just feel like this could be a game to build off of, and the Devils have a good chance against a team coming in a little tired on a tough loss to get things right. So I do like the Devils money line tonight here, and I'm not even just saying that as a fan. I really do think it's a good situation for them.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Andre, what about you, man? What do you see here?
I was yesterday when we brought this game up, because it did get mentioned briefly that the Devils are playing the Avalanche again on the second half of back-to-back. And I was with John. I was like all over it. Like, yeah, that's a really good spot for the Devils. I knew Hughes had come back, so I was like, that should be a boost for them in the locker room. That should be a game they win. Like, that's the schedule's doing them a favor, giving them 2 points right there, right? And I feel like I'm starting to overthink it now, where I'm like, all right, all these teams are slow coming back from the break. The Avalanche played yesterday. They had that, week off, legs back under them. They won't be fatigued from the back-to-back because of the rest. They're going to have game speed back where the Devils won't. I'm starting to wonder if it's almost beneficial that they played yesterday and they're playing again today. One of the few times this season where I feel like playing 2 days in a row helps the team playing the back-to-back. I think they're going to be caught up. They got a point yesterday. They lost a point, really. They should have had 2. Not had to travel, really. Probably stayed in the same hotel. Taken on another team that's, I wouldn't say struggling, but I guess vulnerable at the moment. I think this is a spot where the Avs should win. I don't know. I feel like I'm overthinking it a little bit, but playing yesterday, I think, benefits them, especially since they lost the way they did.
Yeah. give me. I definitely feel. So wait. So are you taking the money line then, or where did you land?
Yeah, I'm taking the money line.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing as you, man. Like, would you rather not play for 10 days or play a back-to-back? Like, I almost feel like, and like, I play a beer league on Friday nights, which is every like 6 days or 7 days. So I play on 7 days rest all the time. But also I'm fat and slow, so it's different. But I will say that, yeah, I think it actually benefits Colorado. The one thing, John, I do see what you're saying, and again, I don't necessarily disagree. The thing that concerns me about the game for your boys tonight is this: Colorado, in their last 5 wins, they have scored 5+ goals. In 7 of their last 9 wins, they've scored 5+ goals. The Devils have allowed 5+ goals in 3 of the last 4 games. And that's what concerns me about the game tonight is without Jack Hughes, can your boys keep up goaltending wise, scoring wise against this team? The -1.5 at +205. I just chirped you for overthinking the lines, but that one does have me very curious. Like, they're favored +205 for -1.5 is almost too tempting. So I'll stick with the money line here. But that does scare me. The Devils are giving up a lot of goals, and when Colorado wins, they score a lot of goals. So I'm a little bit iffy on that. And we'll get Uncle John's full breakdown on the New Jersey Devils tomorrow. Don't miss it. Don't be late. All right. To a lot of people, the game of the night, Edmonton in Vegas. As I said, I think this is the game of the night simply because of this crazy 16 game win streak. But also, and I believe if they win tonight, they tie the record. But also, Edmonton has 5 games in hand. And Vegas, they're not too far ahead of the Oilers at this point in time. Vegas plus 130 at home. That's big dogs, man. Minus 155 against the Oilers. The Oilers are minus 155. The over is 6 and minus 120. The under is plus 100. Minus 1.5 for the Oilers is plus 164. Plus 1.5 for the Golden Knights is minus 198. Andre, we'll start with you on this one, man. What do you see in this game?
I don't know. Maybe I'm a hater, but I really want to pick Vegas here. Just because why not? The Oilers are playing phenomenal hockey. 1 off tying the record, 2 away from breaking the single season win streak record. It's all going good, and they're right behind Vegas in the standings. I think in points percentage, are actually ahead of them, so they should have the second best odds to win the division in theory. It's all good in Alberta right now, at least when you're going up there that far. But I truly believe Vegas is going to win this game at home. They know that the way things are shaping up now, this is going to be their first round opponent. This is an important game for having home ice advantage in that series. This is a Vegas team that just won a title. They know how to show up for big games, regardless of who's in or not. The Oilers lost some momentum from the break, obviously. We've talked about that plenty the past few days. I think the Golden Knights win this game. I really do. The Golden Knights defense goaltending is up there, capable of slowing down this Edmonton team. And I'm tentative to see how the Oilers come out when it comes to puck prevention.
Yeah, I'm super curious. I like Vegas here as well. I'm a little bit nervous about it only because the Oilers are the new Jets in the sense that they have not allowed more than 2 goals since December the 22nd, which is a lot of games. Full disclosure, forgot to count them, but that's over a month, right? Where they haven't allowed more than 2 goals. Currently, Vegas without Jack Eichel for the foreseeable future. I do wonder how Vegas will do as far as scoring. But I think this is the worst time for the All-Star break for the Oilers. Like, you're winning like this, the last thing you want to do is take a week off. I really like the under all around. I really do think that it's going to be a very defensively tight game. Plus 100 for under 6. That's a pretty high number to have plus money attached to it for the under. Under 6 plus 100. I love it. Plus 130 for the Golden Knights. I love that as well. But full disclosure, that not allowing more than 2 goals, that really does concern me. And we all know about the Oilers and the winning streak. We all know that. Listen, Vegas finished the month of January 5-2. So they're starting to come back around. They're starting to get it together. And I like Vegas. I'll tell you what, though, if the Oilers win this game tonight, they are winning the record. They are going to get the record. They play the Ducks, I believe, on Thursday or tomorrow, one of the two. And if the Oilers win tonight, they will smell blood and they will get the record. John, we'll finish it off with you, man. What do you see heading into this game tonight?
Writing about the NFL, watching the playoffs there play out recently, if it's taught me one thing, it's this: to beat a man, you gotta beat the man. We saw Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs continue to take down people despite being doubted. As the defending Super Bowl champion, kind of a similar situation here with Vegas starting to get doubted despite being the defending Stanley Cup champion. They're still the man, so to speak. And Edmonton's the hot challenger right now. They're the hottest team in the league, going on a historical run. I think the line indicates many people believe they're going to just pounce right through.
Yeah.
I'm saying not so fast. I agree with you guys. I don't think this All-Star break did Edmonton any favors. In fact, I think it hurt them more than any other team. I may get proven very, very wrong tonight, but that's just my belief. When you win 16 games in a row, you tend not to want to slow down. You tend not to want to have a break. You tend to see it in these playoff series sometimes when like a team goes practically undefeated and then has to wait like 8 or 10 days to play. They get cold to start the next series. Like, I could see that happening, especially against a talented team like Vegas, who I still believe is very talented despite not looking their best lately. Maybe the All-Star break actually benefited Vegas as well, because I think they need to go back and regroup a little bit. I'm leaning towards the streak ends tonight. It's very hard not to take plus 130 at home for Vegas, even against a team that's won as much as Edmonton has recently.
Vegas coach Butch Cassidy said, and I quote, "There is no love lost between these two teams." If there's a sports book out there that has the over-under for fights, get at me at Sport Addict Mark, and I will give you $1,000 right now. Over whatever the number is. 2.5. What do you think? Over one? I think over 1.5 is a good number for a fight market. Over 2.5 is like the 70s, but I do think, or more, yeah, like a bench brawl. But dude, give me over 1.5 fights for sure. I think so. Love it. All right, let's move on. Finish off the show with our best bets, brought to you by none other than First Round Collectible. Right now, with promo code SportsAddict, you get 10% off whatever sports car your heart desires. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. John, we'll start with you, man. What is your best bet on this Tuesday night? Monday night. Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday.
That's right. Smooth. Tuesday night.
I'm going to the Sunshine State here, Florida and Philadelphia. I like the goaltending matchup here a lot. Florida, because they've been a talented goaltending team all year, top 3 in goals allowed per game. Philadelphia, I merely just think they're due for a good goaltending performance. They were struggling going into the All-Star break. I personally believe the All-Star break, having time away from the ice, is going to really benefit them. Under 6 at minus 115, I'll take that.
Andre, what about you, man? What's your best bet for this?
Well, John, you're a lucky guy. I didn't mean to cut you off, Mark.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
Didn't mean to stop the slow read. I was going to say, John, it just dropped to under 6 at minus 110. So,
there we go.
There you go.
And I'm going to keep. That's right. And I'm going to keep the unders going. Under 5.5 in Pittsburgh between the Jets and the Penguins. Jets offense limped into the break. Jets goaltending is the best in the league by the numbers. Pittsburgh allows 6 field goals per game. They're at home. Tristan Jarry is also strong in net. The offense has also been underachieving. The power play has also been underachieving all season. More than 5 goals in that game, not a chance. Jets, Penguins under 5.5 at plus 105.
Whew, love it. All right. I'm going to break this over-under trend, specifically the under trend, and give me Vancouver, man. Plus 130. Give it to me. I love it. Let's do a full parlay. Vancouver minus 1.5, Winnipeg minus 1.5. Those are my best bet. No, I'm just kidding. But I do like Vancouver at plus 130. I do think it's a risky best bet just because, like we said, Carolina, good team. They're playing some of the best hockey they have all year. Vancouver, you're giving me Thatcher Demko against whoever Carolina puts in net. Give me a break. Both these teams can score. Vancouver, number 1 in the league. Plus 130 all day. You're telling me that Winnipeg is minus 105 against Pittsburgh. I know that Carolina's better than Pittsburgh, but you got to give Vancouver a bit more love than this. Plus 130. Lock it in.
So, John, today is just your day. The under 6 in Sunrise, Florida has dropped now to minus 105. So I'll just keep climbing in your favor. You put that with the under 5.5 in Pittsburgh at plus 105. The Canucks money line at plus 130. You have a plus 820 parlay. And Mark, because I know how much you love your country, I put the Canadians money line at plus 136 with the Canucks money line at plus 130 with the Winnipeg Jets minus 1.5 at plus 215, and that's plus 1609 for you.
Give it to me. I love it. Wait, so Vancouver minus 1.5 too?
Oh, that was the Vancouver money line. Hold up.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's good enough. No, that's good enough. Don't get too greedy, Mark. Let's go. I know Bill's got to get paid, but relax a little bit. All right. I love it. I honestly, man, I really do like all 3 Canadian teams to win tonight. And I know that Calgary is also a Canadian team, but I don't like them to win tonight. So sorry, Calgary. Love you. Great city. Great bar scene. If you're ever out in Calgary, give it a sniff. Great place. But don't think you'll win. All right. Good show today, boys. Good luck on your best bets, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us as always. A reminder, we will be rest of the week, 5 p.m. new time, just for the rest of this week. And towards the end of the week, we will let you know a new time starting next week. We appreciate all you watching us on Total Apex, Sports Addict Live, Twitter, YouTube, the whole deal. Good luck on your bets, and we'll see you next time.